Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Is we live? Is we live? Big salute, big salute, big salute, big salute. Mm, Big salute to all my support goons, support squad, loved ones, all my big bros, all the righteous revolutionaries. Big salute. Big salute to everybody tuning in, tapping in, coming to see what your boy talking about. I don't know if y'all heard about this. And for YouTube and StreamYard and whoever else watching, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. This is for entertainment purposes only. Entertainment purposes only. But yeah, boy, I seen this on YouTube the other day. Boy, I had to come talk about it. I had to come talk about it. So y'all know we're gonna get straight into it. I think we're gonna watch this one first. Yeah.
From rugged mountain peaks to pristine forests, from glistening oceans to the earthy hues of arid deserts, for those who are willing to seek it out, America unveils endless beauty
Yeah.
at nearly every turn. And nowhere is that more apparent than in its more than 400 national parks.
Okay.
Most people are familiar with the scenic vistas of the Grand Canyon or the monolithic wonders of Rocky Mountain National Park.
Yeah.
One park that had largely been forgotten, however, has recently returned to the surface of public consciousness.
Who
As
that?
its name suggests, Mystery Flesh Pit National Park was a place of otherworldly appeal. It
What?
not only informed the public of one of the world's greatest natural mysteries, it also contained life forms found nowhere else on the planet. Unfortunately, for anyone wishing to visit today, Mystery Flesh Pit National Park is no longer open to the public.
What?
Following a well publicized
So we can.
disaster in 2007, the park ceased operations, and for the last 14 years, this place of natural beauty has been quarantined. Rather than welcome sinners and helpful park staff, curious visitors will now find only electrified fences and ominous warnings to stay away.
Yes.
Still, life within the park goes on. Though no human presence remains within the park itself, the ecosystem sustained by the Permian Basin superorganism is alive and well, though the organism
We can't
itself
wait.
lies
Can't
blessedly
be in here.
dormant once more. Those who were fortunate enough to visit the park prior to the
They just
2007
had to go
disaster
back
may
and
recall
watch
that
it
the
again.
superorganism is host
We
to
in
an
here, Kate.
abundance of other creatures,
If we in here,
most
we
of them
first.
little understood. Today, we'll be taking a look at some
This
of the
shit,
most
bro. What
famous
the fuck?
examples of fauna within Mystery Flesh Pit National Park.
Fauna.
Of course, some may consider these creatures to be disturbing, some even going so far as to call them abominations. But like all forms of life on this planet, each of these organisms have their own unique beauty to offer.
Look at this.
Before we begin our descent into the park, though, I'd like to take just a moment to thank the sponsor of this expedition, World of Warships. World of Warships is a free to play game of team based battles that take place entirely at sea, and it's now available on PC. And because each
Give me
match
some
is different, you'll need to
sponsors.
summon every ounce of
Give me
strategizing
time.
your
Give
brain
me
can
time.
muster, especially when you play against your friends in Division. Trust me, you're going to be blown away by all the options here. You'll find over 400 unique ships, many of which
See,
are
that's how
digital
much
versions
get
of
them
real
sponsors. They
historic
get them
ships,
sponsors
and you can
so we
control them
get
through
paid for that.
gorgeous maps
On
with
that
living,
game.
changing
Don't tell
landscapes,
them how many
even
downloads
down
they
to the
got.
weather. Of course, if you'd like to fully customize your own ship, this game has you
Yeah, so this
covered.
this is
You'll
for
find
fun for
5
everybody
different
who got
warship
them
types:
YouTube channel.
destroyers, battleships, cruisers, aircraft
So
carriers, and
we
even submarines. And with more than 44 million people currently playing World of Warships, you'll never miss out on a challenge to test your abilities. And if
okay,
that
man.
wasn't enough, you'll find time
Man,
limited events and missions like the
okay, I
time they
understand
gave
you got
players
to
the
do your
ability to
promotion,
team
big
up with
dog.
Godzilla and
Damn.
King Kong. You know, the one from Skull Island. All
See,
of
when I
this,
get
and
my
it's free
promotions,
to
I'm gonna do
play.
mine.
Download the game using the first link in the description. As you register through that link,
Quick.
use the code
They
FIRE
probably
to
got
get an
time
enormous
because
starter
we gotta
pack.
do
This thing includes 200
3 minute
doubloons,
video
premium battleship USS
promoting
Texas,
battleships.
20 times Restless Fire camouflage, 1 million credits, and 7 days of premium account, all for free. Again, thank you
Okay
to
then.
World of Warships for
Get
sponsoring
back
this
to the
video. It is very
fact.
much appreciated. Links are in the description. For a bit
We
of
don't gotta be
context,
hating on
let's begin our
just know you.
exploration with a brief history of the park.
Here we go.
Though legends of the Permian Basin superorganism are thought to trace back a
Yeah.
couple of hundred years, it wasn't until 1973 that this amazing creature entered the public awareness. A surveyor named James Jackson was exploring an area near Gumption, Texas, when he happened to come across what is now known as the Entry Orifice, a large mouth like cavern that seemed to be alive, breathing, and according to Jackson, bleeding. As it turned out, this was just one entrance to what became known as the Permian Basin superorganism, an ancient and unimaginably large creature that slumbered beneath the Texas soil.
What
In the
kind
years since its discovery, ownership of the land surrounding the orifice
of
passed to Anodyne Incorporated before being absorbed into the National Park System in 1980 under the Special Resources Development Act. Under government management, the park was transformed into a kind of natural resort, and for nearly 3 decades it was a popular tourist destination. Visitors could descend inside the orifice, which, thanks
hold up. Now y'all see the type of shit they be hiding. Why we don't know about this? Why this wasn't on breaking news? Look, this need to be taught in every history class if it's real. So if anybody out there from West Texas, Amelia Dixon, if anybody out there from West Texas know about this, well, please leave a comment. Please leave a comment.
to the efforts of some brave engineers, had been dilated and expanded, allowing for the construction of multiple visitor centers and even a backcountry trail system.
What?
Throughout these expansions, and as scientists began to learn more about this superorganism's anatomy, it quickly became
Well, that sounds like Disney World or Carowinds or something. You know, Carowinds up there in my city, Big Sloop Carowinds. That was one of my first jobs. Working at Carowinds, got to ride the roller coasters. It was like going to high school at work. Oh, but yeah. A amusement park inside of a creature. Man, do y'all see this shit? Boy, what the fuck? What?
clear that it was far larger than anyone had initially dreamed, but we'll come back to that in a little while. It
Oh,
was also clear that the superorganism itself had become a host to a whole ecosystem of smaller organisms. Many
eco
of these creatures lived their entire life cycle within the superorganism, while others would occasionally venture out to the surface, posing a
West
hazard for
Texas,
any would
holla at
be
me.
visitors. As we explore these creatures in more detail, you'll likely notice that many of them bear a striking resemblance to creatures found in Earth's oceans.
Man,
This observation has
man eating,
perplexed
man
scientists for
eating lobster.
years, though at this time it's theorized that at some point in the very distant past, perhaps early in its life cycle, the
They down there fucking with SpongeBob now. Man eating lobsters and sponges and shit, faunas and shit. Well, what the fuck going on here, man? Come on, man. See, it's shit like this that when they say when shit come back, people gonna be killing themselves when they see a lobster coming to eat their ass. Motherfuckers gonna blow their own head off when they see the man. Okay, let's get back into it.
superorganism was aquatic. During this time, it may have swallowed other life forms which, left to evolve in this little understood climate of the organism's body, adapted to become the creatures we see today. These adaptations occur in ways unlike anywhere else on Earth, not just because of this unique environment, but also because the body of this superorganism appears to facilitate some very odd biological alterations.
Oh,
One such example is the iconic amorphous shame.
what?
These strange creatures live their entire lives nestled into folds or pockets within the flesh pit. Fully adapted to this environment, they have no need of skin, eyes, or even bones.
Come
But
on.
although they appear to be nothing more than an ungainly clump of organs, scientists theorize that the amorphous shame actually shares a common ancestor with
Hold on. What?
the long tailed weasel. At some
Weasel?
point, roughly
Man, a weasel with oh man, what? Okay, let's keep going.
14.8
Oh,
million
this
years
shit
ago,
got my
this
head.
weasel precursor likely entered an orifice of the Permian Basin superorganism.
You ain't
Many
missed nothing,
generations
sis.
later,
You right
deep
on
within the
time.
flesh pit, this common ancestor is now known as Mustela subterrana. Its body has elongated, enabling it to navigate the pit's tight folds. By 4 million years ago, Mustela subterrana has become hairless, toothless, and blind. Eventually, it gained the ability to metabolize liquid bolus from within the organism itself.
I don't
Presently,
know.
the
Step by
amorphous
step.
shame is completely unrecognizable as a descendant of small surface dwelling mammals. To eat, it simply extends a siphon tube appendage outside of whatever
All right, for everybody just tuning in, right? It's a creature that's nestled under the ground in West Texas. So they say. So they say. Disclaimer, this for entertainment purposes only. So they say there's a creature nestled up under the earth in West Texas somewhere. And if you pull it up on Google Maps, it's still there. Mystery Flesh Pit National Park, but they changed the name. and all that shit now. But they just telling you what's inside this shit. But they, you know what I'm saying? We just really getting started. These are some of the animals that, like, if we see, like, if we was to go visit and we'd see, we'd be like, oh man, that like a little nasty ass, slime ass weasel with no bones, no eyes, but it got teeth and claws though. So
A small
what we
orifice it
doing right
inhabits,
now.
allowing it to consume
Okay,
liquid
y'all tune
aminos
in.
and proteins from within the superorganism's anatomy. You may be wondering how these bizarre creatures, which have no method of locomotion, are able to reproduce. Well, thanks to the fact that these creatures dwell within a living being, they are occasionally squeezed or vomited out of the flesh pockets they inhabit. When this occurs, environmental peristalsis moves them along slowly until they happen upon another place to take up residence. These new homes may be inhabited by other amorphous shames, sometimes even of the opposite gender.
Uh,
The two shames locate each other via the use of pheromones, at which point a frenzied copulation ritual, aided by what little musculature remains in their bodies, takes place. The sight of these two creatures vigorously engaging in a mating ritual is, as recounted by early explorers and miners, really something you shouldn't see twice. But the bizarre anatomy of the shame is only one example of the extreme
Dang,
adaptations that have occurred within the superorganism, and it doesn't always take millions of years. As
you can see
previously
that from the
mentioned,
map.
on rare occasions, certain creatures from within the flesh pit will ascend to the surface to hunt, dragging their prey back down with them. If the surface fauna isn't immediately eaten, it may undergo a fascinating process known as anatomical amalgamation. This results in the creation of so called compound organisms, multiple creatures that have become fused together. No one knows exactly how this process occurs, but in most
Me too.
situations, the lives of these compound fauna are mercifully short. Still, park visitors were strongly advised not to feed the compound fauna lest they prolong their suffering. But the surface dwelling animals weren't the only organisms to be grafted into these compounds. Rarely, rangers or visitors would stumble across an amalgam that contained humans. It's unknown how many people suffered this fate in modern times, but there are a few known cases of humans who were extracted from an amalgamation. A highly experimental procedure was developed in the 1980s by Baylor Medical Center, which involved identifying which organs and tissues within the amalgamation were human, and if more than one human, which organs and tissues had differing DNA sequencing. Where
What?
possible, these organs, including the brain, were then carefully extracted and, through the use of proprietary chemical solutions and machine interfaces, placed on a kind of intensive life support. In at
What?
least one situation, an extracted individual was able to communicate via a text based computer readout. Unfortunately, the cost of this procedure was prohibitive and the patient's quality of life was horrific. As a result, these extractions were rarely performed. Due to medical privacy laws, it is unknown how many, if any, of the individuals who underwent this procedure are still alive today.
Oh
But
man.
perhaps the most well known of the flesh pit's fauna is the abyssal copepod. These creatures were likely the ones described by James Jackson himself in a sketch dated 1973. You
What?
might think that they look like a kind of large lobster or shrimp, and you'd be pretty close. Indeed, abyssal copepods are members of the arthropod family, which includes spiders, insects, and of course, crustaceans.
Oh
Unlike their
man.
ocean dwelling counterparts, though, abyssal copepods have fully adapted to life within the flesh pit. For example, though they share the same tough exoskeleton as their relatives, in pit dwelling copepods, it is coated with a waxy substance that allows them to slide between folds of flesh with ease. And though they
You
tend to
right,
stay far
sis.
away from light and noise and are therefore a rare sight for visitors, their sheer size makes them otherwise hard to miss. An adult can reach up to 20 feet
I
in
think
length
this
and
something
weigh more
different
than
though.
310 pounds. Most abyssal
310
copepods,
pounds.
however, are a bit smaller, with the average length being around 6 feet. Still, if you happen
Damn.
across one, it's best to keep your distance.
Keep your
One of the
distance.
most startling aspects of these creatures' anatomy are two very specialized appendages located near the front of their body. Unlike other arthropods, which may possess claws or pincers, these skeletal manipulators look very similar to human hands. Even
Oh
stranger,
man.
unlike the rest of their chitin covered bodies, these appendages are unarmored and are covered in a thin, semi translucent skin that is stretched tightly over a bony frame consisting of two major joints and a hand made up of four fingers and an opposable thumb. These hands are used to grasp and choke their prey, which, after losing consciousness, are dragged away for feeding. The
Damn.
striking morphological discontinuity between these arms and the rest of their biology has been the subject of much scientific debate, and some have even gone so far as to theorize that the abyssal copepod is an example of a kind of successful amalgamation between humans and arthropods. Though this
What?
disturbing thought is not outside the realm of possibility, most scientists are hesitant to accept it. Even still, the mysteries of the flesh pit are
So hold on. So that's the real life Spider-Man right there then. That what Spider-Man really looked like. Damn. Damn, that shit crazy.
Fast, and almost nothing about what we do know is for
Spider-Man
certain.
living in the monster.
One of the least understood creatures within the superorganism is known by several names: suckling sprites, buggins, or most commonly, the gasp owl.
What?
These organisms live only within the deepest reaches of the so far explored areas of the pit, and as a result, little is known about them. These little animals get their name from a characteristically labored breathing and from the common thought that they are descended from an avian ancestor. Of course, unlike the amorphous
What?
shame, no genetic studies have been conducted as to the gasp owl's lineage, so this is speculation at best. By nature, gasp owls are both shy and inquisitive. Sadly, since the park's closure in 2007, research on these unique creatures has effectively halted. Hopefully, this research will be allowed to continue in the
Hold on.
future.
2007. That was not too long ago, wasn't it? 2007 wasn't too long
But
ago.
for now,
That was
we'll
just a
have to
few
be
years
content
ago.
to let the gasp owls live on in our imaginations. One of the most common species found within the former park is now known as the mesoglial tridecapod. To many park rangers and service
I
crew,
don't know
these
what this
fascinating
is,
creatures
bro.
were considered a nuisance thanks to their tendency to congregate around and damage electrical conduits and wiring. Tridecapods are so named because of their 13 legs, 12 of which are used for locomotion. The 13th leg, on the other hand, is covered in keratinous plates and bears a similarity to a head, but rather than housing eyes or ears, this head features two sensory ganglia, which are highly sensitive to electric field gradients. This allows the
Man,
tridecapod to navigate through the superorganism's anatomy with extreme precision. Interestingly, mesoglial tridecapods are hemovores, meaning that they obtain vital nutrients from the blood of the superorganism. Using their very specialized mouthparts, tridecapods are able to slice open one of the organism's vessels, ingest the blood, extract the nutrients, and then
man.
eject the filtered blood back into the vessel. When they're done feeding, they
Ooh-wee.
secrete a resin that seals the incision, causing only a negligible strain on the superorganism's body.
I'm
Not
glad you don't
surprisingly,
eat
this led to
me.
the common conception that the mesoglial tridecapods are dangerous vampires. In fact, it was the human presence within
Oh,
the
so they
pit
can
that was
suck the
dangerous for
blood
these
out of you.
creatures. The tridecapods would often mistake electrical conduits for vessels, causing them to be fatally
Yup.
electrocuted and causing costly downtime for park infrastructure. So far, we've discussed some relatively common creatures
Like a
within the
daddy
flesh
long
pit, but
leg.
the most common by far is actually a
Man
group
eating
of
daddy long
organisms
leg.
collectively known as macrobacteria. Unlike microbacteria, these
Damn.
creatures are multicellular and can reach
Yeah,
very large sizes, some up to 12 feet in diameter. In
12
fact,
feet.
despite their name, the macrobacteria found within the former park are not bacteria at all, but again, pointing to a former aquatic superorganism,
Motherfucking
they are a
starfish.
species of
Killer starfish
echinoderms.
coming to eat
Over the
your ass.
millennia, it's believed that these echinoderms developed the ability to feast on cystic nutrient
God.
ganglions found
So
within the
my
pit via osmotic diffusion. In fact, visitors could often observe colonies of these macrobacteria clustered around these nutrient cysts. While the park was open, it was clear that macrobacteria pose little threat to humans as they tend to be almost entirely passive. Still, any visitor to the pit was warned not to approach and to never touch them, as they could easily fall into and become suffocated by the macrobacteria's oral groove.
oh
Now we've come
man.
to the main attraction of the entire park and the reason for its establishment: Immanis colossius, the Permian Basin superorganism itself.
Yeah.
Though it was formally described in the
You
1970s,
crazy,
it's possible
bro.
that Native Americans were aware of its history long before that. An oral legend from the Caddo people is described as follows: the favor of the Great Spirit rested on the abundant forest, flowers, songbirds, and small animals of these quiet hills. Then a fierce dragon devastated the land, bringing disease and hunger and hatred and greed on the people. The Indian nations pleaded with the Great Spirit to subdue the dragon into a deep slumber, and the might of all the heavenly forces contrived to bury it under the world, where it
Okay, so what he's saying is it's an ancient Indian story from down that way. And the Indians say it was a dragon. So the Indians had to pray to the spirit to come put the dragon to sleep. Just listen to what he's saying. Hold on.
shakes the earth even in the 1970s, it's possible that Native Americans were aware of its history long before that. An oral legend from the Caddo people is described as follows: the favor of the Great Spirit rested on the abundant forest, flowers, songbirds, and small animals of these quiet hills. Then a fierce dragon devastated the land, bringing disease and hunger and hatred and greed on the people. The
Mm.
Indian nations pleaded with the Great Spirit to subdue the dragon into a deep slumber, and the might of all the heavenly forces contrive to bury it under the world, where it shakes the earth even today. Unfortunately, despite oral traditions like these and decades
Man,
of exploration within the organism itself, scientists have only been able to scratch the surface. It is unknown where the organism came from, how long it
I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Indian story. It's a dragon, and the shit that's living inside of a giant dragon. So that's why I say we just pieces to a bigger puzzle. You know what I'm saying? As human beings, we just pieces to a bigger puzzle. God is best, but yeah.
has been here, and even how large it truly is. In fact, the superorganism's size has been the subject of quite a bit of debate. Surveys suggest that its body extends hundreds of miles horizontally, just beneath the upper layer of the Permian Basin. But just how far down does its body extend? Well, the simple fact is that we don't know. The depth record for a human was achieved in 1979 when an expedition team was able to reach a depth of 19,012 meters, or about 11 miles. At this
Damn.
depth, the anatomy of the superorganism changes drastically, and further human exploration is deemed too dangerous. Unmanned probes have made it slightly farther, but disruptions in communications have made it impossible to continue. This is due in large part to one of the superorganism's least understood physiological aspects, blue tissue. As its name implies, this type of tissue is a soft, blue, non Newtonian liquid tissue
That
layer located at the farthest known depths of biostrata. Its purpose in the superorganism's anatomy is unknown. It is extremely corrosive, leading many scientists
could that be the dragon that the Latin people be praying to? Um, I forgot his name. We gonna pull his ass up after the video go off. Yeah, we gonna pull his ass up. You already know we're gonna dig his ass on up.
believe that it may be utilized by the superorganism to break down subterranean hydrocarbon deposits. Still, despite the lack of physical confirmation, it is hypothesized that the pit may well extend into the Earth's mantle, with many scientists suggesting that the organism may be native to the interior of the planet, having merely surfaced to the upper tectonic plates for unknown reasons. Beyond that, very little is known about the superorganism. Even the shape of the creature is a matter of debate, as the known portions of its body exhibit no symmetry or other observable pattern. As far as the
Hmm.
internal biology of the superorganism, tissue samples suggest that its body is made up of vascular, respiratory, gastrointestinal, musculoskeletal, nervous, limbic, and integumentary systems that are similar to mammals. Of course, there are also many more systems that have no analogous properties to other organisms, and even its method of feeding is not understood. It's possible that the superorganism undergoes cycles of feeding and dormancy, or it could be sustained by the breakdown of subterranean hydrocarbon deposits facilitated by the previously mentioned blue tissue. And though we don't know how far the organism extends into the Earth, what we do know seems to indicate that it is at least several 100,000 years old. But does that mean it's a mature adult or a juvenile? For
Dang.
now, questions like these are little more than complete speculation. And though it's lay dormant beneath the Earth for thousands of years, the incident in 2007, which caused the death of so many, may indicate that a resurfacing of this colossal organism is only a matter of time. So far, we've looked at the most famous examples of fauna within the former national park, but of course, there are many more. Unfortunately, organisms like the Venus shamble, gastric bristleworm, ballast sirens, and many more have barely been studied at all. Until scientists are able to study these creatures in more detail, we'll have to be content with drawings like these.
Damn.
The beauty of Mystery Flesh Pit National Park is undeniable, but as those who remember the incident in 2007 can attest, it isn't without its dangers. Like any national park, it's a wild place and a reminder that
Nah, Leviathan is up there in Morocco. And then the one who slayed Leviathan, his body's in Australia. They call him the it's a big outline of a man, but that they say that's all organic tissue too. Um Out there in Australia. One of their big monuments. It's a monument of a man carved out in the desert in the middle of nowhere. But Leviathan is up there. His fossils is in Morocco, stretched across North Africa. He damn near make the Atlas Mountains and all that shit up. But if you pull up Google Maps, you can see you see him spitting some shit on a fish. Like he spit some fire, some nasty ass fluid, and by him trying to kill that fish, I think that's what sunk Atlantis. Not the water, out flashing in the water, cause you know the Sahara Desert used to be ocean. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This the other dragon in Latin America, real colorful.
Despite our best
What's his
efforts,
name?
nature cannot be contained.
The Latin
Hopefully, we'll be able
American
to learn more
dragon
about the Permian Basin
symbol.
superorganism and the stunning variety of wildlife that calls it
About his
home.
name.
Until then, though, don't try to visit on your own. Despite its beauty, as the sign states, nothing beyond the fence is worth dying for. And if
Dang.
you'd like to learn more about the now defunct Mystery Flesh Pit National Park, including reports of the 2007 disaster, be sure to visit the creator's official Tumblr and Patreon pages, which will be linked in the description. And thanks again to World of Warships for sponsoring this video. Those links are also in the description. And as always, thanks for watching.
Yeah, that was just a little breakdown.
What if you could generate
From
what the other one that? Now let's do a disaster report real quick. Since now we know what's going on down there.
1113 entity was discovered in the United States. Perhaps the government or some other shadowy organization would come in and try and cover it up somehow. Perhaps the existence of it would lead to widespread panic about the nature of normalcy and our reality. Or perhaps some intrepid entrepreneurs would turn the entity into an attraction. This is the case of the Mystery Flesh Pit National Park, a fictional theme park based around the titular Flesh Pit, also known as the Permian Basin Superorganism, located in western Texas.
Anybody
The
from West
concept
Texas,
is the world-building
please tap in,
brainchild
leave
of
a
Trevor
comment, something.
Roberts,
Do you know
and it has been
anything about
expanded on greatly in many ways by many people since its original conception.
West Texas, Permian? Ain't that where they shot that movie for Booby Miles? That where Booby Miles from out that way. Ain't that where Booby from? Y'all remember Friday Night Lights, the football movie? Booby Johnson talking all that shit. Ain't never want to hit the weight room, but couldn't even read or nothing. I'm just gonna play football. Fuck around, fuck that leg up. It was over for him. That nigga had to go to class then. Booby Miles. Y'all remember Booby Miles, man? Come on, man. West Texas, though.
While it's
West
certainly
Texas.
possible for me to make several videos summarizing various
Again,
aspects of the park and its organism, in this one I'll just be reading a disaster
organism.
report that was written in the wake of the most notable accident to have occurred at the park. It should provide a fascinating, albeit dryly written, look at the organism, the park, and what exactly occurred in 2007. United States Commission on Geobiological Resources and Public Safety. 2007 Permian Basin Superorganism Disaster. Final Incident Investigation Report. Prepared in cooperation with the U.S. Department of the Interior, the National Park Service, and the U.S. Geological Survey. The U.S. Commission on Geobiological...
Hold on. So that means it's record of this. Somebody talk to me. That means it's record of this. That means there's record of this. Y'all heard what they just said, right? Hold on. Let me take it back. Cause they say if you don't, they gonna think you lying, Cuddy. You tripping. Ain't no dragons and shit.
Dryly written look at the organism, the park, and what exactly occurred in 2007. United States Commission on Geobiological Resources and Public Safety. 2007
Y'all heard what he said. Y'all heard what he said. So y'all look this up for y'allself and y'all leave me some comments. Yeah, listen
Permian
up.
Basin Superorganism Disaster. Final Incident Investigation Report.
West Texas, where you at?
Prepared in cooperation with the U.S. Department of the Interior, the National Park
Come on
Service,
in, tap
and the
in.
U.S. Geological Survey. The U.S. Commission on Geobiological Resources and Public Safety, CGR, is an independent federal agency whose mission is to ensure the safety of workers, the public, and the environment by investigating and preventing accidents relating to the Permian Basin superorganism. The CGR is a scientific investigative organization. It is not an enforcement or regulatory body. Established by the Special Resources Development Act of 1980, the CGR is responsible for determining the root and contributing causes of accidents, issuing safety recommendations, studying geobiological safety issues, and evaluating the effectiveness of other government agencies and private enterprises involved with the Permian Basin superorganism.
Man.
No part of the conclusions, findings, or recommendations of the CGR relating to any accident may be admitted as evidence or used in any action or suit for damages. See 42 USC 74126G.
See how they do?
The CGR makes public its actions and decisions through investigation reports, summary reports, safety bulletins, safety recommendations, case studies, incident digests, special technical publications, and statistical reviews. Any use of trade, firm, or product names is for descriptive purposes only and does not imply endorsement by the U.S. government. U.S. Commission on Geobiological Resources and Public Safety, Office of Congressional Public and Board Affairs, 2175 K Street Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20037-1848.
See, but they hold on.
1.0.0.
They name all over it talking about, oh, you can't sue us and we don't want to be no parts of it, but they all you hear is government shit going on in there. This shit crazy. This shit crazy.
Executive Summary. At 9:41 p.m. CST on July 4th, 2007, the Permian Basin Superorganism Natural Preserve, known colloquially as the Mystery Flesh Pit National Park, experienced a catastrophic disaster which resulted in over 750 fatalities and over 1,800 major injuries.
Damn.
In the weeks following the incident, approximately 18,000 individuals from the surrounding communities sought medical and psychological treatment for ailments, including breathing problems, chest pains, shortness of breath, nausea, birth defects, hallucinations, depression, anxiety, internal bleeding, sore throat, and headaches as a direct result of contact with gastric ejecta, which had been introduced to the atmosphere. Investigators have concluded that this
gastric, so what? Boo-boo and shit? Boo-boo and shit until everybody got sick. Gastric injector. Is that even the real word? This shit can't.
This disaster was chiefly characterized by a premature geobiological consumption event caused by the catastrophic failure of critical park infrastructure to constrain and limit the gastric, motor, and neurological actions of the Permian Basin superorganism.
So this was some old Jurassic Park type shit. I mean, they found some shit that was still alive, and they started playing with shit, and they know what they were playing with, and motherfucker got killed.
Investigators have concluded that the failure of these critical safety measures are the direct result of negligent practices by the primary site operations contractor, Anodyne Deep Earth Mining, a subsidiary of Anodyne Incorporated. The U.S. Commission on Geobiological Resources and Public Safety released its first report on the Permian Basin superorganism disaster in August 2007, the interim report, which highlighted technical findings and safety system deficiencies.
What?
The report issued recommendations to Anodyne Incorporated, the city of Gumption, Texas, the state of Texas, the U.S. Department of the Interior, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and the U.S. Department of Energy. As of April 2008,
so they told everybody that don't do it. These folks told everybody don't do it. And what them folks do? They did it any fucking way.
These groups have made progress in implementing the recommendations to improve the regulatory requirements for geobiological resource extraction, geobiological resource containment, and general public safety as it relates to the Permian Basin superorganism. 2.1.0 Anodyne background. Anodyne was originally founded as the Anchor Mineral Company in 1923. In 1958, the Anchor Mineral Company merged with Dynamic Equipment LLC to form a new company known as Anodyne Deep Earth Mining, later changed to Anodyne.
And no doubt.
Headquartered in Arlington, Texas, and prior to its 2008 restructuring,
Texas.
Anodyne Corporation was the 23rd largest American company by revenue.
Yeah.
Globally, Anodyne employed over 28,000 people. It operated 7 major research, development, and production facilities around the world, 6 of which were in the United States. Anodyne filed for bankruptcy in late 2008, but ended its bankruptcy in February 2009, pursuant to a court-approved
It's
plan
long.
of reorganization. A new board of directors changed the name of Anodyne to the Permian Basin Recovery and Superorganism Containment Corporation, and emphasized reorganizing and liquidating certain operations and assets of the pre-bankruptcy Anodyne.
It's coming. The good shit coming.
2.2.0
They just giving
Permian
you the
Basin
story.
Superorganism background.
He just giving you the
The
story.
Permian Basin Superorganism, Emanus calaceus, also
Man, I'm
known by
into
the
it, bro.
popular
I don't, my fault,
nomenclature
bro. I
of
ain't,
mystery flesh pit, is a subterranean organism unique to modern biology,
yeah.
being the sole occupant of the phylum Emanegma.
Is this a
The
real
organism
movie?
was discovered by a pilot well drilling crew in 1973.
These facts, they
Later efforts were made to expose more of the organism through drilling and surface mining explosives. The superorganism is chiefly characterized.
I'm gonna tell you something that'll make somebody anybody want to go from 0 subscribers to 100,000 or million subscribers in a matter of a week. Go down here and get some footage. Who gonna be the one to go down there and get some footage in West Texas? Cause we finna pull it up on the map as soon as this one over with. If you hang long enough, I mean, nah, I ain't worried about Gaddafi dead. This something that's going on right now, Gaten. To be 100, you know, I don't really want to touch on Gaddafi right now. We're gonna say that for another note. But this right here, if you in America, Gaten. If you in America, boy, you want to start you a channel right now, boy, go down here and get some footage. Yeah, go down here and get some footage. West Texas.
By its immense size, which is still a matter of geobiological debate. Surveys suggest that the organism may span many hundreds of miles beneath the Permian Basin horizontally,
You ain't
with
got to go
scientists
inside.
speculating that the organism may extend vertically
Boy,
into the upper mantle of the Earth's interior.
Can we see anything?
The complete anatomical layout and internal
scattered all night,
organization of the organism is unknown. Tissue samples suggest that the organism contains gastrointestinal, vascular, respiratory, musculoskeletal, nervous, limbic, and integumentary system.
Well, bro, I'm pretty sure if this is in the earth in America, in Texas, I'm pretty sure there's more of them around the world. That might be one that's in the Congo, that volcano, where they going in the earth finding all that shit. Yeah, cause that's all the volcanoes is the monsters that mold the earth, passing gas. Yeah. So you might want to pay attention to this one, bro, because it might
with remarkable similarity to mammal life, while also containing a variety of systems which have
This
no
real life
direct
shit right here.
analog and are not fully understood. The feeding cycle of the organism is poorly understood and believed to occur on a complex and long-term schedule of dormancy and feeding activity. It has been hypothesized that the superorganism derives caloric energy from subterranean hydrocarbon deposits, though the organism has been observed to digest and absorb organic matter.
Damn.
The depth at which the organism extends into the surrounding rock strata indicates that the organism is several 100,000 years old. It is unknown what the natural lifespan of the species is, or if the 10:06 p.m. July.
Okay, this is what I want to get to. We're gonna get to what happened.
Almost completely submerged. Water.
Okay, hold on.
indicates that the organism is several 100,000 years old.
He finna get
It is unknown what the natural lifespan of the species is, or if the Permian Basin
he
superorganism represents a mature or developing example of the species.
finna get to the juicy shit, bro.
3.0.0
Here it
Incident
go.
timeline. Start of relevant timeline. 10:29
Oh, you got the
a.m.,
back
July
with
4th.
us. Oh,
Unseasonably high rains forced park administrators to cancel a July 4th concert and fireworks display
oh,
scheduled to take place on the surface park grounds. Many visitors who had already purchased tickets to the event become upset, and a decision is made to extend the park hours until midnight for those who had purchased event tickets. 8 p.m., July 4th. Normal closing time for the national park. A typical shift change of reduced night staff in the control room takes place. 9:16 p.m., July 4th. Harvesting crews working in the western extremities of the organism set a new extraction record to meet a quota for bonuses in time for the holiday weekend.
damn that. What?
9:30 p.m., July 4th. Control room operators initiate a routine system self-test and discover a relay fault error resulting from increased electrical demand from mining equipment and tourist infrastructure. A control room operator logs the fault and notifies an on-duty engineer. 9:41 p.m., July 4th. Water drainage from surface rain into the entry orifice begins to collect in the sand gullet.
Uh-oh.
Drainage pumps are automatically activated by a sensor system, but fail to initialize due to the relay fault. An emergency backup pump running on a separate emergency circuit is automatically activated. 9:42 p.m., July 4th. A critical alarm in the control room alerts operators that the emergency water pump has seized and is inoperative.
Oh, man.
Under lubrication of the pump's impeller bushings resulted in corrosion due to the moist interior of the flesh pit environment. 9:48 p.m., July 4th. Technicians arrive at the primary pump station to discover the sand gullet almost completely submerged. Water begins to pour over the dorsal respiratory ridge and into bronchial bulbules. Control room operators divert power to hydraulic stent rams to brace for expected choke response.
Oh, man.
9:51 p.m., July 4th. Technicians repair the relay fault as control staff reset the park's electrical grid. The grid is offline for 45 seconds. The automatic PA system does not notify guests, as the system is scheduled to automatically shut down at the normal 8 p.m. closing time. The temporary lapse of lighting causes many guests to become panicked and return to the main gantry lift at the lower visitor center. 9:52 p.m., July 4th.
Damn.
A choking action from the organism begins 31 seconds into the electrical reset. The main dorsal trunk violently flexes. Lack of power to hydraulic arming rams causes irreparable damage to several sections of internal infrastructure.
See, Jurassic Park.
9:53 p.m., July 4th. As the electrical system finishes the reboot cycle, the dynamic hydraulic actuators supporting the lower visitor center overcorrect for stability,
Oh,
not accounting for the shift in the wall lining of the nexial cavity in which the visitor center facility is anchored.
see, that sound like
2 of the 6 structural supports are torn from their foundations, which causes the facility to list 20 degrees off vertical.
damn.
The base joint of the vertical entry gantry is bent beyond its design limit angle. 9:54 p.m., July 4th. The master alarm is tripped automatically.
Uh-oh.
Surface facilities are notified as response teams are given the order to mobilize.
Uh-oh.
9:56 p.m., July 4th. Park rangers are dispatched to rescue groups of visitors trapped in partially collapsed tunnels and trails. 10:03 p.m., July 4th. Continued movement of the organism, combined with rainwater, causes one of the upper entry gantry supports to slip. An outbound elevator conducts an emergency stop, stranding over 24 visitors. 10:05 p.m.
So this shit here really happened. Disclaimer, this for entertainment purposes only. So boy, this shit here really happened. West Texas, somebody from Texas, please holler at your boy.
July 4th.
Please holler at your boy.
Tremors registered as far away as the DFW Metroplex. 10:06 p.m., July 4th. Soil liquefaction disables surface facilities in and around the organism. Dilation anchors begin retracting to keep the entry orifice open. 10:12 p.m., July 4th. A master failsafe is activated by the automated park management system.
Oh man.
20,000 liters of aconitine compound are injected into the superorganism via distributed network of relay stations located throughout its known internal anatomy.
Oh, they put it to sleep.
10:12 p.m., July 4th. Tremors and convulsions intensifies. The entry gantry connection to the lower visitor center detaches completely. The lower visitor center begins to collapse downward into the nexial cavity.
Damn.
10:12 p.m., July 4th. Peristaltic muscle action of the nexial cavity begins to exert substantial pressure on the outer structure of the lower visitor center facility. 10:15 p.m., July 4th. The prime labial junction just west of the septum falls geobiological feature flexes into an open position, releasing a torrent of lactogastric chyma into the dorsal trunk. It is likely that this was a reaction to the aconitine injection. 10:16 p.m., July 4th. Peristaltic spasms force the caustic chyma slurry through the nexial cavity and up through the lower and upper moisture crops toward the surface orifice. 10:16 p.m., July 4th. Many guests attempting to flee the stalled elevator near the entry orifice attempt climbing out the upper moisture crop, but are ultimately unsuccessful due to torrential rains causing the surfaces to become very slippery. Many end up falling back into the maw.
Man.
10:17 p.m., July 4th. The chyma slurry erupts from the surface orifice in a geyser several hundred meters in height.
God.
Large pieces of undigested organic matter crush several vehicles and damage windows.
Man.
10:19 p.m., July 4th. Following the several minute-long ejecta event, a deep and incredible loud roar erupts from the entry orifice as ground tremors intensify further. Large extremities begin surfacing through bedrock and soil, approximately 30 kilometers to 120 kilometers from the entry orifice. 10:25 p.m., July 4th. The acrid smell of the gastric ejecta can be detected as far as Odessa, Texas. 10:26 p.m., July 4th. 2 Park Service vehicles and a tour vehicle containing Park Service employees and several guests attempt to ascend through the entry orifice tube. 10:27.
Anybody from Texas? Does anybody from Texas? Man, please tap in with your boy. Please holler at your boy. Texas, come on now.
p.m., July 4th. Peristaltic action crushes one of the tour vehicles and sucks the other 2 vehicles back into the nexial cavity and down into a digestive organ.
Oh,
These vehicles are presumed destroyed.
yep, it's over.
10:58 p.m., July 4th. The Pentagon is given authorization from the White House to use nuclear force, if necessary, to prevent the organism from entering an active and/or ambulatory state.
Damn.
11:02 p.m., July 4th. The on-site operations director within the lower visitor center control room initiates a final failsafe measure in the form of the contingency measure. 11:02 p.m., July 4th. Master event log records successful spin-up of the contingency measure. 11:05 p.m., July 4th. Lower visitor center structural integrity is critically compromised, resulting in total collapse. 11:05 p.m., July 4th. Data connection with lower visitor center is severed. 11:13 p.m., July 4th. Spasms and motor action of the superorganism begins to noticeably subside. Response teams begin to descend into the surface orifice to attempt rescue operations. 11:19 p.m., July 4th. Response team encounters visitor group which had attempted escape from stalled elevator. Most are dead. The remainder are mortally wounded and partially digested due to caustic gastric ejecta. 11:42 p.m., July 4th. Radio contact established with Ranger vehicle trapped within Oyster's shame.
Damn.
Due to ventricle closure, no feasible rescue strategy can be developed before complete mastication occurs. 11:56 p.m., July 4th. Response team confirms that contingency measure and associated facility are still intact and operating.
And this is crazy.
11:58 p.m., July 4th. Texas Governor Rick Perry formally declares a state of emergency for Gumption County. 12:22 a.m., July 5th. Response teams route data power umbilical to new base camp in contingency measure facility.
But fam, have you heard this? Have you heard anything about a Flesh Pit National Park? Anything like that though? You say you down there in Texas, step by step tech, big salute. I know it ain't many black folks, but man, somebody heard something. It's some black folks in Odessa. I know that. They say you can smell the gas from Odessa. So somebody got to know something about something. It had to be on some news or I know that I already know they be seeing shit that they ain't supposed to see in Texas, like shit that ain't got hair and shit like that. Shit that sound like it'll come from this. But yeah, man. What yeah, let me know something. Cause this shit here, boy. Woo. This one of them, woo.
12:35 a.m., July 5th. 3 interpit life forms are identified as having been ejected onto the surface.
Oh man.
15 visitors are injured and 7 are hunted by interpit life forms during panicked evacuation of surface resort.
What?
12:41 a.m.,
They on
July
the
5th.
surface.
Park staff managed to kill the 3 large life forms. 1:02 a.m., July 5th. National Guard helicopters begin delivering supplies and personnel to aid in site containment. 1:58 a.m., July 5th. Field hospital is constructed to care for wounded visitors and staff. 2:37 a.m., July 5th. Initial damage surveys report catastrophic destruction of internal park infrastructure. Pit geobiology has dramatically changed in hazard level. 3 a.m., July 5th. Emergency teleconference of Anodyne executive leadership. National Parks Director and Secretary of the Interior are present. 3:12 a.m., July 5th. Executive decision is made to initiate FEMA response and assemble a task force for containing superorganism. 4 a.m., July 5th. Media helicopters and vehicles begin to report on the scope of disaster.
So it's on the news.
4:39 a.m., July 5th. Base camp technicians begin to spin down contingency measure. Large fractures due to inertial stress have appeared on mineral components.
July
Engineers advise against
2007.
reinitializing contingency measure until mineral components can be replaced or repaired. 6:08 a.m., July 5th. Ground personnel begin assembling a pump system to inject industrial sedatives into the superorganism.
So they got it.
Transport trucks containing industrial sedative arrive.
Pumping them drunk.
9:45 a.m., July 5th. Emergency teleconference of Anodyne shareholders.
That's a couple days.
11:20 a.m., July 5th.
My birthday, July.
Several
2nd.
injured visitors inexplicably leave field hospital and begin walking towards open pit orifice.
What?
Approximately 38 individuals are able to crawl back into the orifice over the course of 8 hours.
30.
None are recovered. 3:51 p.m., July 5th.
What?
Radio transmission from trapped ranger vehicles ceases. Many speculate that other small groups of visitors and staff are still trapped. End of relevant timeline.
Hit it!
Damn. That shit there.
4.0.0 Final Investigation Report. The following final investigation report addresses additional investigation findings not covered in the previous report, including analysis of the Anodyne organization, emergency response and safety culture, industry disaster response standards, structural integrity standards, and effective performance of Mystic contingency measures.
They want their money.
4.1.0 Technical Findings. This report highlights the following technical findings. An in-depth discussion appears in the interim report. 4.1.1 The electrical distribution scheme for the interior operations of the Permian Basin Superorganism Nature Preserve was modeled on a typical...
Man, I can't take it no more. Hold on. Let's go to the maps. Hold on. Let's go to the maps. Let's see if we can find this thing, y'all. We finna see if we can find this thing. Yeah, come on over here, West Texas. We finna see. There go Odessa. Okay. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Nah, we want the damn. Yeah, we want traffic view, right? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Let's see if we can find this thing. Go Odessa. What's that right there? Let's zoom in. Oh, my fault. Hold on, damn. Yep. Go Odessa right there. Pecos. Fort Stockton. What they all they said. Y'all see that right there? What's that right there? Man, is that it? Is that it? Oh man. That's it. That's the same picture that it look like. Look. Yep. Oh man, that shit got to be real. And remember they said they were pumping a drum full of sedatives, so all that water right there, cause ain't no rivers where that's a river right there, but the river don't drain into that though. So, so they got to, man. Somebody talk to me. There it go right there. So the story got to be real. And I know y'all gonna look it up and y'all gonna hit me on the comments and be like, yeah, Cuddy, boy, that shit real. And the rabbit hole go a little deeper. Cause see, my folk diamond like, man, you know here yet. I know if he is, he like, boy, he on the computer right now looking, boy, what the fuck is this? What is this? There you go, right there. Damn. I mean, you can when you got receipts to you hear stories and then they pull up receipts. Now, who is gonna be the one to go down there and get some footage? That's what I want. Just go take a picture of the fish. What you mean FOE? That's it. That's what we were just watching. And they said they changed the name to that Imperial Reservoir. Pictures look like. Who gonna go out? Who gonna go out there and get some pictures? It only that water don't even look right. Look, and they say it's closed. Yeah, I bet it would be closed, ain't it? Word. The flesh pit holes, though. I ain't talking about the dry pits. I mean, I know they got the but yeah, with organisms and shit living around. They don't want nobody going around there. You probably can't go nowhere around that mug. You probably can't go nowhere around here. It's only what, one, two roads going in. Yeah, so boy, hey, boy, that shit real. That shit real. Damn, mystery flesh pit. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about, y'all. You know, I had to come
11:13 p.m., July 4th.
put y'all up on that
Spasms
right quick. The ones that wasn't up on it. You know, I don't know who was up on it and who wasn't. But yeah, it's plenty more videos on here. Not just about me. You know, they got jokes about it, but hey, it's on the map. Look, what we just pull up on the map. Don't it look just like that from the map? They just put water around it. But they drown anything they want to hide, they cover it up with water anyway in America. That's their number one move. That's their number one move. Uh-oh, there you go, that boy live. We got 9 folk watching, everybody must be asleep or at work. Oh yeah, most def. Hey, most definitely take them yappers. Shit, hey, set it up. If I can't make, I'm on the other side of the world. So if I can't make it, well, y'all make sure y'all record everything. Then don't go to sleep. Be up all night, all the footage, trail cams and all that. So we know what for that's gonna be that'll had the internet going crazy for a long time. If somebody go down there and get some footage, who gonna go down there and get the footage? That's the question. Who gonna go down there and get the footage? Oh, big salute, Cold Figure TV. Yeah, I'm my big brother. He be talking that shit, boy. Trapflix.com. Y'all rested yet? I said, like y'all ain't salute Patricia boy. Big salute, sis. Yep, cop a drone, yep. And we won't even really have to go all the way up in there like that. We just fly that we hear a noise, fly that motherfucker out. As soon as you hear something. Hey, y'all take cover. We heard something. We flying a drone out. Y'all keep your eyes open. Because they already said it took a team to take out 3 of them. But yeah, y'all, I just wanted to come on here and talk shit about this, man. Y'all research this and y'all go watch the video and y'all come back and let me know what y'all think. Who gonna set the trip up? Who gonna go get the footage? Is it you? Is it you gonna go get the footage? Who gonna go get the footage? Ooh. So big salute to everybody, man. Y'all stay safe out there, stay paranoid, stay dangerous. And just be prepared. Keep preparing the best you can. Prepare. I love y'all, man. Big salute. Aye.